check my email and it says I got in, and I'm like, I got in. Like, I wasn't expecting this.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel again. Yes, I'm in the same clothes that I was in my last couple of videos because I recorded all these videos in one day to save time. So let's get right on over that. If you have any issues with that, too bad. I'm still gonna do it. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about how I got into nursing school because I've never talked about that on this channel, and I feel like it's very different from many of the other how I got into nursing school videos that I've seen on YouTube. I just have a very different story. So if you watched my pinning ceremony vlog and you got to the end of the video, then you know that I knew I wanted to go to nursing school before I even finished my bachelor's degree. That's why I put nurse on my cap. Basically, I would have gotten a bachelor's degree of nursing at my previous university, but it took me a while to figure out where I wanted to end up in the hospital. I toyed with the idea of med school for a while, but in the end I just decided it wasn't for me. The physician approach to medicine is just not something that I could see myself doing for the rest of my life, and I just wasn't interested in it, so I kind of crossed med school off the list. But then I went into OT. I thought about occupational therapy, thought about physical therapy, I thought about being a physician's assistant, I thought about being an EMT, I thought about everything, and nursing school was always at the bottom of the list. I was like, I don't want to be a nurse. Being a nurse sounds awful. All you do is wipe poop and get yelled at all day. I was that ignorant person that didn't really know what a nurse was, and I just assumed that it was just a horrible job to work in. So, and this is me going back now because I have to tell you the whole story in order. So now I'm in spring semester, and this is important. I'm in the spring semester of my sophomore year of undergrad, and I was a part of a minority pre-health society on campus, and through that club I was able to get an internship at the hospital that was on the campus of that school. And I was able to shadow a pediatric neurosurgeon for most of the semester. This is when I was still seriously considering medical school. So I shadowed this pediatric neurosurgeon, and it was a wonderful experience. The doctor was wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But what I noticed is that the doctor he just wasn't there. He was either on conferences or traveling out of town to meet other patients that couldn't travel to his particular office. And he worked very closely with a nurse practitioner. And what I noticed is that the doctor would be in the office with the patient, look at the child, talk to the parents briefly, build a rapport for, 15 minutes, and then he would leave and go to the next room and, do some paperwork. I really don't know what he did because I stayed in the room with the nurse practitioner until the patient left. And it was the nurse practitioner that would stay, ask all these questions. It was her that would know the patient by name, remember the birthdays, remember all the things that really make someone feel like they're cared for by a health professional. And I talked to her and I was like, okay, what's your role? Like, what's your title? What do you do? And this is when I was really introduced into what nursing is. And at that point, I was like, nurse practitioner, it's like the best of both worlds. It's what I liked about medicine without all the other things I didn't like about medicine as far as their approach to the delivery of healthcare. So then at that point, I was like, okay, I think that nursing school is something that I should seriously consider. And I went to my advisor and I talked to her about applying for the university's nursing program. But by that time, spring semester had ended. My internship was over. I was now in the summer. It was the summer before my junior year of college. So my advisor was like, you missed the deadline. You can only apply for the nursing program at this university your sophomore year. So I had two options, which were to finish out my degree or take my credits that I've completed at this university and apply to another nursing school and move away. And I was not interested in moving away. I decided to finish out my degree and just apply for nursing school afterwards. So that is why I didn't do the 4-year BSN, because I just didn't figure it out until it was too late. And in the beginning, I really beat myself up about that. I was just like, wasting time. Like, I could have already had my bachelor's degree. I could be doing this right now, but I've come to realize that everything happens for a reason, and I don't know how well I would have done in nursing school had I been accepted at that point in my life. I don't think I would have been ready for that. I just wasn't the student that I am today back then. Today, I'm not, I don't know. It's not that I wasn't focused, but I had a lot of distractions while I was an undergrad. I was a part of a lot of organizations. I was doing a lot. I thoroughly enjoyed my college experience. It was a lot of fun, and there are a lot of sacrifices that you have to make to be a nursing student. And I don't know if I would have been willing to do all of that at that point in my life. So I think everything happens for a reason. It wasn't my time then, but my time was now. All right, so now we fast forward. I graduate, boom, bada boom, bada bing. I moved back home, and there were a couple of classes that I needed to finish out. I had to retake anatomy and physiology because I had gotten a C in that class at my previous university, and I had never taken microbiology. So I spent the next year pretty much doing that, and I would just take like one class at a time, like literally one class at a time. I would take microbiology one semester, then I would take the lab the next semester, then I would take anatomy one semester, then I would take the lab next semester. And I did that because honestly I was just lazy, and I was really enjoying not being in school full time for the first time ever, where I could just work and come home and not have to think about work and just really enjoy my life. And that was great, but you know, I hit a wall. Banking wasn't what I wanted to do. So then we come to spring of 2015. So at that point in time, I really only applied to one nursing school. And please don't do what I did. I wasn't watching nursing YouTube videos way back when. So I was just doing what I thought was normal. Now I know that it's not normal to apply to just one nursing school. You should definitely cast a net wide if this is something you're serious about, but I didn't because I didn't know any better. So I applied to the current nursing program that I'm in now, but I applied for the fall 2015 class, and I just assumed that I would get in. I submitted my application in May. The advisor said you should hear back from us by July. July rolls around, I get an email telling me I didn't get in, and I was like, I didn't get in? I didn't get in! So that was a big old slice of humble pie. That's what that was. I needed that. I needed to be humbled. I needed to realize that everything isn't going to be given to you. Like, you have to work for this. But I did go back and I asked the advisor why I didn't get in. And long story short, the nursing school that I'm in now was switching over from the ATI to the HESI. So in that transition phase, people that were applying for the fall 2015 admissions didn't have to take any entrance exams. So there was no T's, there was no HESI A2, there was nothing. You just needed the GPA and you needed the classes. So basically they got flooded with applications. She was like, yeah, we got about 2,000 more applicants than we normally would get just because we didn't have an entrance exam this year. So competition was pretty fierce, and I'd also applied towards the end of the deadline. Again, don't be like me, apply early and apply to more than one school. But basically, she was like, that's why you didn't get in. So at that point, I was very discouraged. I was like, okay, maybe nursing school isn't for me. Maybe I need to try something else. And I was seriously considering going back to grad school for a master's in public health, which is something I still plan on doing in the future. But I was just gonna put nursing school on the back burner and try to get more into the administrative side, healthcare, instead of the clinical side. So I took the GRE, I was writing my essays for grad schools. I was really in the thick of it, and I was honestly expecting to start a program by the following summer or fall of 2016. I expected to be in somebody's classroom learning something. So now September, I'm still applying for grad school. Still in my mind, nursing school is like, I'm not paying attention to you right now. And I randomly decided to check the email, like my student email, not my personal email, because all that stuff is synced to my phone. But my student email, I have to physically log into it, and I just didn't really frequent that particular email account after I had been denied. So I was like, all right, let me check my email, let me see, I don't know, maybe something happened, maybe they got some money from me, I don't know. So I see an email and it's like, oh, you know, we've extended our deadline for the January admissions we've extended the deadline. So if you haven't already applied, you should apply. And I was like, I don't know, I'm really focused on grad school right now. I've already tried this, I didn't get in, I probably won't get in again. But something just kept nagging me, like, just do it, like, you know, do it. And if you get in, then it's meant to be. If you don't get in, then this is not what God has for you right now. He has other plans for you, and just let that be that. And everything just seemed to work out because I had to take the HESI exam, and I'm not even gonna waste my time putting up a video about how I studied for the HESI exam because I didn't. I literally walked in and sat to take the exam, and that was it. Hadn't opened a book, hadn't picked up a pencil, nothing. So that particular day that I took the HESI A2 entrance exam, I had the afternoon shift at my job, so I believe I had to be there at like 1, and so I registered for the exam the morning of or the night of. It was super late. Went, took it at 8 in the morning, finished it, and went straight to work, and that was it. I went and I resubmitted my application with everything else that I had submitted it with the first time, and I went to work and I did not think about it. And that was the biggest difference between the second time I applied and the first time. The second time I applied, again, I only applied to one nursing school. Don't be like me. But at that point in time, I was also really focused on grad school. So I was like, I'm just gonna apply to the same nursing school. If I get in, I get in. If I don't, then I'm going to grad school anyways, so it doesn't matter. But don't be like me. Apply to more than one nursing school and apply ahead of time, because the only reason I applied was because they extended the deadline. Like, what was I thinking? So anyways, where are we now? Yeah, so I submitted my application and I did not think about it at all. The first time I applied, I was checking that student email every single week, a couple of times a week. This time, I don't think I checked my email from the day I submitted it until the day I looked at it and I was like, oh, I got in. So now we're in October and I just randomly decide to check my email and I'm like, whatever. Check my email and it says I got in, and I'm like, I got in. Like, I wasn't expecting this. I was like, I got in, and I was like, oh my God, I really got into nursing school, and I got into the accelerated program, and I was like, oh crap. And I'm glad I checked my email when I did, because the deadline for the deposit to hold my seat was in 2 days. So I was like, whew. I had gotten that email, I believe, the week before. So I, of course, hurried down to the school, gave them my deposit to hold my seat, and the rest is kind of history. I went, again, I did things that I should not have done. I knew I got into the program in October, and all I did was secure my seat. I didn't go get my immunizations. I didn't do any of that until the school called and threatened to drop me if I didn't start doing things. So I got all of my shots and all that stuff done. My background check, I got all that done literally around this time last year. Crazy, right? Like literally mid-December, I was running around at my physician's office trying to get this shot, trying to find paperwork for this, and I started class in like 2 weeks and I wasn't even registered. But it all ended up working out. But that was my nursing school story. Again, as you can see, it's not the traditional route, but that's the great thing about nursing. There is no one route. You can become a nurse in a million different ways, and this was mine. So if you like this story, please give it a thumbs up. I would love to know how you got into nursing school. If your story is similar or different to mine, leave it down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.